Welcome to a team selection video for Gameweek 33, and this has been going on for quite a long time now, and on the Friday things started off so promisingly, and yeah, then over the next day or so was still going pretty well for me. After that, pretty mixed bag, and yeah, some really weird situations, not just in my FPL team, but also outside of FPL. And regarding the whole of football, we obviously know the news that happened, and it was crazy last few days, and Twitter exploded. I mean, all the social media did. But I'm going to talk about how my team did for Game Week 32 before moving on to Game Week 33 and my transfer plans, which have been slightly altered due to injuries and due to also just the form of certain players that I had in my wildcard draft, who I ended up not getting in, which is a big shame, but it is what it is. We do make mistakes even on a wild card. And yeah, I mean, Game Week 32, still got Iheanacho left, so we'll see how he does against West Brom. But 72 points, pretty decent. I've gone up from 97k to 72, so it's a decent rise up the ranks. But some very weird situations have come up, and we just start in goal, and both of my keepers don't play in Mendy and Forster. I mean, obviously, there has been evidence of Mendy being rotated before in the Premier League. I think it was against Newcastle where Kepa actually got a game in there. So it's not something that has never happened before, but it's just a bit surprising that Mendy's been rotated yet again when he's chasing the Golden Boot alongside Martinez and Ederson. But it is what it is. I still think he could win it, but obviously he's going to have to play some games from now on. And it's a big shame because I just thought I had up to Game Week 35 at least, the keeper position covered, and I was relatively happy. But yeah, 0 points from both of my keepers, so I pretty much only had 10 men in this week. I look at my defence. I did make a mistake by not playing Rudiger, but the kind of logic behind that was I covered Chelsea's clean sheet anyway with Mendy, and I was pretty convinced they could get one. Unfortunately, I played the likes of Diaz and Shaw instead, and they both blanked. And Diaz conceded in 20 seconds, which is the quickest goal ever conceded by a Pep Guardiola side in the Premier League. So it's pretty mad. But Cody, 7 points. This was on the Saturday, I believe. That's when things were going really well, on the Friday and Saturday. And yeah, he got 7 points. He got that bonus. So relatively happy with that. And then I look at my midfield. Lingard once again scoring a penalty, but still getting the points. Jota blanking, Salah on the bench, and Bruno blanking for the 5th time in the last 7 appearances. So there is this kind of debate of whether we should get rid of Bruno. And to be fair, it is a valid point. In Manchester United, you could get the likes of Greenwood and Cavani, who at the moment are providing much better value. Even Pogba. However, I still prefer Bruno. But I have to say, Greenwood is someone I've definitely got my eye on to bring into my team, but not yet. We'll go into that in a bit. And then Heung-min Son, 12 points. I did consider him for the triple captaincy, but I ended up going with Kane. And to be honest, if Kane had started that Southampton game, I am convinced he would have scored at least a goal, and he could have been on 20 plus points as his base score, which would have been massive for triple captainers. So anyone who did triple captain him just like me, you can feel a bit disappointed in a way. He did very well in the Everton game. I was actually expecting in that game maximum 7-8 points, and then maybe a double-digit return against Southampton. Unfortunately, he got injured in the last few minutes of that game, but there's not much we can do now, and he's definitely going to be saved for that Carabao Cup final, which is going to be massive for Spurs. So yeah, overall, not much difference. I mean, they both got the exact same number of points, Kane and Son, so that's probably the first time that both of my captain and vice-captain have got the exact same score. But yeah, it is a bit of a shame because I think Kane could have, him hauling as a triple captain could have been massive. And obviously he did haul, but I mean, if he got even more points by playing the second game, but still much better than my triple captaincy last year, which was Mane in a double game week. And obviously we all know what happened there. And yeah, as for my bench, Rudiger there, pretty disappointed with that. But the rest, I mean, Forster didn't play. Phillips has an injury, and Vidra only got 1 point. So not, apart from Rudiger, who I probably should have played instead of Diaz, I can't really complain too much. I wouldn't have set my team up differently otherwise. And we'll have to wait and see how Iheanacho does. But moving on to Game Week 33, and this is how my team is looking. And if everyone actually does start, then yeah, it's looking all right, at least for a blank game week where we have no City and no Spurs assets available. But yeah, Mendy, is he going to start? I mean, it's a big game against West Ham. My suspicion would be yes, he's going to start. And I've got double Chelsea defence against West Ham, which probably isn't ideal, but they can still keep a clean sheet. I think they beat them 3 or 4-0 earlier in the season with Frank Lampard, so we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Cody and Wolves assets, they're doing very well. They've got Burnley at home, and to be fair, Burnley have been more adventurous this season, we already know that, and defensively they've been less resolute. But yeah, Cody, pretty happy with him. He's been, actually one of the better picks on my wildcard, so can't complain too much there. Got Shaw away to Leeds, and to be honest, it's kind of difficult to expect, what kind of Leeds side we're going to get, but recently, since Llorente has come into the side, they've been much more better defensively, and it's a big surprise because before that they were kind of one of the whipping boys against the top six, and they would concede 20 plus goals. But that victory against Manchester City, that late equaliser against Liverpool, ironically from the hands of or the header of Llorente, they're going to be maybe more difficult than when United beat them 6-2 early in the season, should I say. And Phillips, he's a major doubt against Newcastle, and that's why I might make some early moves now. Despite only having one free transfer, I might even take a -4. But yeah, I do back the likes of Arnold and Robertson to have a good score against Newcastle. But I've said it before, in Gameweek 32, team selection, and Gameweek 31, Newcastle have been better recently, especially offensively, and yeah, they might even nick a goal there, or two against Liverpool, and I did say that against West Ham, although I'll be honest, I didn't expect them to win the game. And then you look at the midfield, looks very solid, on paper at least, but Jota's been blanking a lot. He might not even be in the starting lineup, and to be honest, it is a case of maybe one of Salah or Jota from time to time anyway, being benched. But yeah, both of them have, well, at least Salah has been good recently, apart from obviously being benched in the last game. But Jota's been very disappointing since bringing him in on a wild card and even on UCL Fantasy. Bruno Fernandes has been blanking left, right and centre, but he did produce 17 points early in the season against Leeds United. Hopefully more of the same there, but to be honest, I'm not even entirely sure about that. But definitely the captaincy will be between Salah and Bruno Fernandes. And Lingard at home to Chelsea. Yeah, I mean, the kind of hope here is that if Chelsea don't keep the clean sheet, Lingard's the one who scores and assists. But we'll have to wait and see what happens there. That should be a very good game, West Ham and Chelsea. Vidra away to Wolves, him facing Cody in my team anyway. Hopefully one of them does return. And Iheanacho at home to Palace, I think that could be even a good captaincy shout, and we'll wait and see how he does against West Brom today. But yeah, overall the team looks alright. There's obviously a few things I would change, even Jota, Phillips. Obviously I wish I would have Arnold instead, for example, and Vidra. Going forward, I keep on talking about this, I would like to get Bamford back in, and yeah, in midfield I've got a few ideas. I'll be talking about my transfer plan soon. My bench doesn't really matter because they're all blank game week players. Forster doesn't play because I think they were scheduled to play Manchester City. Diaz, Kane, Son, yeah, all blanking because of the Carabao Cup final. Hopefully Manchester City win that, but it should be a good game there as well. And I mean, since the last video I made, Jose Mourinho got sacked, and that could change the way Spurs play. They did get that 2-1 win yesterday against Southampton. A bit fortunate maybe, but they got the win, and Son got that penalty, which is interesting. So when Kane isn't on the pitch, looks like Son could be on the penalties. But looking into my transfer plans, just to be a bit clearer about what I'm thinking at the moment, I think what I want to do is get rid of Diaz, because he's just been, him and Manchester City, they just keep on conceding at least one goal every single match. And to be honest, there's no actual need to get Manchester City players in. So what I am thinking of doing is getting Trent Alexander-Arnold, and yeah, I just think it's a kind of a no-brainer, and unfortunately I didn't go with him in the end. When I did my wildcard draft video, I did talk about him. He is one of the best picks. He's been electrifying in the last few weeks. He's getting goals, he's getting assists, he's getting clean sheets. So this is kind of more of the Trent Alexander-Arnold we know from FPL. But in order to do that, unfortunately, I'd have to make some changes in the midfield and the attack. But to be fair, I already kind of had an idea. Either Son or Jota could go. I would want to keep Lingard and Salah. I'll be honest though, with Bruno, I'm not entirely sure about him, but I wouldn't want to get rid of him ahead of a Leeds fixture where he could do very well. But going forward, I think I'd want to get Bamford in, and probably at this moment in time get rid of Jota. We'll have to wait and see. Hopefully he can maybe give me some headaches after the fixture against Newcastle in Gameweek 33. But what I am thinking of doing is getting Rafinha as well when he returns from injury. But I do have a plan. I'm looking at the fixtures as well quite extensively, and with 4.8 million, to be honest, there's not too much choice, but I'd probably go for someone like Soufal. There is Masuaku as well, but yeah, I'd probably go with something like this. If I had enough money, I would even consider doubling up on Wolves' defence for the next few fixtures and getting Roman Saiss in instead of Soufal, and that way, yeah, I'd be very happy with this team. But Leeds United do face Spurs in Gameweek 35. So what the plan at the moment is to either make 2 transfers now for a -4, and it could be for these 2 defenders, Trent and Soufal, or Trent and Bamford, or something like that. And going forward in Gameweek 34, that's when Leeds' fixtures turn for the better, and I would want to get at least one of Rafinha or Bamford in, and I wouldn't get both of them in because, as I said before, in Gameweek 35 they do face Spurs, and I'd probably bench both of them, or I'd want to. So getting one of them in would be good, and then I'd get the other Leeds attacker in around Gameweek 36, and that's when they have good fixtures up until the rest of the season. So that's the plan, getting one of Trent or Soufal within the next week or so, either for 2 free transfers or maybe for a -4, and 1 Leeds attacker. And then after that, I'll get the other defender who I didn't get in yet, and I'd also get the other Leeds attacker. But that's kind of my plans at the moment. Trent, Soufal, Rafinha and Bamford in. When am I exactly going to get them in? Who knows? I could get 2 of them in this week for a -4, and if not, 2 of them in for Gameweek 34, and then get the other 2 for Gameweek 36. But that's just my initial plans at the moment. And as I said before, if I'm looking short term for the next 2 game weeks, I do back Wolves to get a clean sheet or 2, and doubling up on Wolves defence probably actually makes quite a lot of sense. And I have had a few second thoughts about my keepers. Should I make a transfer there? Because I can't have a situation where Forster, who has always been kind of a rotation risk anyway with McCarthy, I can't really have him as a backup keeper when Mendy from time to time is going to be displaced by Kepa. But what I am thinking is that Mendy's going to play for the rest of the season. He might miss 1 game or something like that, but it is a bit frustrating to sometimes be left with 10 players when really Mendy could be getting a lot of clean sheets if he starts. So that's kind of my transfer plans at the moment. And as I said before, the captaincy, it is between Salah and Bruno Fernandes. Now, if Bruno showed a bit more form, then I'd probably be going his way instead of Salah. But I'm exactly not sure. With Leeds' improvement, that's what kind of puts me away from Bruno. Because recently with Llorente, as I discussed before, they've been much better defensively. But otherwise, I think Bruno would be my captain quite clearly. I mean, there is Lingard, but he does face Chelsea, so I'm not really going to consider him. My kind of outside pick from the players I have at my disposal would be Iheanacho, definitely. So that's something I am considering. But at the moment, I've got the captaincy on Salah. I might change it to Bruno or Iheanacho, but got to think about it. Got to look at the underlying stats in more detail for Leeds, Newcastle and Crystal Palace. But believe me, Crystal Palace are one of the worst in terms of expected goals conceded, shots conceded. Leeds are one of the better sides in the last 6 game weeks. And Newcastle, to be fair to them, they have improved, but they are away to Liverpool. But then again, Liverpool have been very hit and miss at home recently. So not really too happy with my team. I think what could prompt me to a -4 this week and get in the likes of Arnold is the Phillips injury, because I do think Liverpool can keep a clean sheet to Newcastle, and I think Arnold's ceiling is quite high, so taking a -4 for him makes perfect sense. So there is a possibility I do take a -4, and hopefully the last one of the season, and I get Trent in and rectify my mistake on the wild card of bringing in Phillips and Jota instead of Trent, and also Diaz, who's just been very disappointing, unfortunately, but it is what it is. And when you look at the rest of the fixtures, what kind of other captaincy shouts could you be looking at? I'll be honest, I look at them and there's not too many, but obviously sometimes it's good to be different. I think Iheanacho would probably be a standout of mine, just considering how Palace play. I think Leicester will score a few goals. Probably, I'd just say Iheanacho, because I look at the rest. I wouldn't captain a Wolves asset against Burnley unless you're feeling, I don't know, someone like Saiss who could maybe get a goal or something like that. For Man United, to be fair, I'd actually maybe tout someone like Greenwood or Cavani, and I'd start looking at them more so for the captaincy, maybe than Bruno, but maybe Bruno can start, proving me wrong there. But the other fixtures, Aston Villa, West Brom, that's a tough game to call. That is a derby, and West Brom have been pretty impressive recently. Grealish should be back for that. But actually, no, I think he's going to miss that one too. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, Dean Smith, with him, we don't even know what he's on about most of the time. From Chelsea assets, I probably wouldn't captain them. It's a pretty difficult fixture against West Ham. I'd probably still maybe consider Lingard, but Chelsea's defence is just too good. So to be honest, I look at the Man United assets, I'd maybe target one of them. I'd look at Iheanacho and Salah. And maybe if you're feeling a bit more differential, Mane or Jota, but very risky. But hopefully Gameweek 33 does go well. Hopefully all of our players play and there's no rotation in terms of keepers and stuff like that. And let me know what your team situation is like down in the comment section below. If And if you enjoyed this video, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new around here. I'd really appreciate it. And follow me on Twitter and Instagram. You can also communicate to me on there, and you can send your teams and any problems or whatever suggestions that you want to propose. So thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Good luck with Gameweek 33. I'll be aiming to do a deadline stream tomorrow, 1 hour before the deadline, obviously, as I always do. And I'll see you next time.